fucking Jabus bananas. Look at Mooney's up here in Old Greg's Mangina. See the slope of this terrain? It kind of goes uphill there. And yeah, and then it winds around there, and it comes back over this way in a down slope. It's like Mooney's not for sure, but we think they call that a knoll. A knoll. A K-N-O double L, and so we start to think, oh shit, it's Noel Fielding's vagina. It's Noel Fielding's mangina. Yeah. And there's hardly any trees outside Old Greg's Mangina. Yeah, there's hardly any trees out there, but there are some up in here. And so Minnie starts to think, well, it's a training nursery. That's what it is. It's a training nursery for these trees, for these boy-girl trees. So Minnie starts to extract seeds from these pine cone vaginas laying on the ground and find different ways to get those out and plant some seeds. But we make these bowls too. See, they're rocks. And Minnie just carves them out with her rock hammers. And then fills them with waters. Well, puts a little bit of Portland cement in there to seal the holes. So that they'll hold the water instead of it draining through there. Osmosis and all that. Or not really osmosis. It's sort of, maybe. But on a different scale. But we bring these nuts up in here. Yes, Minnie's happy to see that the squirrel's getting something to eat, because there's this emaciated squirrel up in here. And when Minnie goes down to the river to get some waters, we see this big fat squirrel. And they go up this trail, and they're asking us to follow them. So we goes up the trail and we follow them, and they shows us where these nuts are. So we brings this squirrel up some nuts. And now they've got a drink of waters, and a bath, and some nuts. And Mooney's got another bowl here. This is a bird bath. And if you look at Noel's vagina from the sky, it kind of looks like that. If you fly over in a balloon or a spaceship, and Noel's vagina kind of looks like that shape. It does. See, there's an opening over there. And there's an opening over there. Use it just like this. But you are here. You are here. So Mooney's wondering, it's like, how did we get here? How did we get here? And we think, and we don't have this Jabus system where we can go to church and Jabus is going to make everything all better. And all we have to do is just ask for forgiveness and let everybody else abuse us and go to church, and Jabus is going to fix everything, because that's the problem. That's why we're here. There's some nut trees growing in there. Minnie had to put these little transparent housings around them, because either the squirrel or something else was biting the nuts off the little tree growing, and it was killing the tree. So we put them in some training housing. They got some training housing. And still, we're like, why are you here? Why are we still here? Well, Nancy Mace violates their office and says we're not allowed to use the toilet. Yet they broadcast hate speech outside of their district. So, Minnie says all the other representatives should take the day off. They just go on vacation. Go to the spa. Go skiing. Hell, fucking have a cruise. Take a cruise. Hit the links. Go skiing. Whatever the fuck you want to do. Just go do it. Mooney will be fine. We're out here in Old Greg's Mangina. It's okay. Don't worry about us. And the reason, go scan. Go do all that stuff you want to do. Because Nancy, like Nancy Crater in the Star Trek episode, The Man Trap, Nancy will take care of it. Don't worry about it. Nancy will take care of everything. You just sleep. Yeah, don't worry about it. And the reason we say that is because, by violating their district, their office, by broadcasting hate speech outside of it, they essentially have opened the door to any resident outside of their district who has a problem or complaint. So the other representatives don't matter. If they're not going to discipline Nancy and hound them from their office, then they should just go on vacation. Go on holiday. Have some fun. Because Nancy says they're going to take care of everything. Don't worry about it. But then, so, we're also in the situation where, we've been abused by these other vaginas that use their vaginas publicly to either, get votes, get elected, get this, get that, at agencies for, supposedly against rape and sexual assault, that tell us that, you can't be raped, tranny, that rape is for vaginas only. Yeah, in other words, it's like, they somehow look at us and they say, even though we have private parts and our genitals are private, we happen to know that you have a burrito, that you're born with a burrito, and we're not going to let you be anything other than a burrito, even though we totally accept other vaginas that secretly or privately identify as penises. That's totally okay. Yeah, well, they refuse to acknowledge our rape situation, and so they rape us some more. And so, one of these extraction techniques that we use is to find old Stumpy here. Old Stumpy, you see, somebody murdered Boy Girl Tree up in Old Greg's vagina. But that's okay, because we can still use it. Yeah, we put these vaginas on a chopping block, you see. We just put them on a chopping block and take our rock hammer and chop them, we'll just chop them up like a fucking horror movie. And that's why we say, if they should just start treating, I think you just rake the seeds off. You can or you give old Stumpy a blowjob. See, and then you get another one. But you see, you pull this material away from the stump, and it's been in a forest fire, so you can scrape this nice carbon material off of there that enriches the soil. Mix that in there with it, and you just do that over and over again, see? And, these little boy-girl trees will spring up around here, and then as they grow and get bigger, you can transplant them. Yeah, move them to some of these bald areas. So, when you start to think about, why we're up in here, being fired from our job at Walmart in St. Albans, Vermont, by Walmart Barbie, who's another one who wants to use their vagina to get exclusive rights and power and authority, while they deny their abuse that causes us to be fucking trans in the first place. Yes, that paper medium you abuse and tell lies on, that, in addition to other forms of conveyances, causes us to be trans when you tell lies. It causes us to change, to metamorphosis, to transition. And then, now they're at the point where they're even threatening us if we try to use the fucking toilet. If we try to use a public toilet, we're not allowed. They threaten us. So, Walmart Barbie fires us from our job because they want us to change our shoes. Take off your shoes, tranny. A box might fall off the shelf and land on your foot and injure you. And so, Minnie didn't want to lose her job, so we go to the car on break, and we put our tennis shoes on, our running shoes, and we go back into the store and do our job. But Minnie's sad when we leave the store, and we forgot to get some stuff that we needed, so we goes back to our room. We said, that's okay, we'll get up earlier than we normally do. We'll put on our fucking heels, and we will walk into that store as a customer. Yeah, not as an employee, but as a customer. We'll go in early and get our stuff, so that way we don't have to stay. When our shift's over, we'll just leave. Yeah, we can totally do that. And we go in the store, and there stands the store manager. Their name is Stryker, but they actually look like Mom, the character Mom from. They look like Mom from that film, Dr. Detroit. Yeah, and we strut by them, and they see our shoes, and they say, "You're not allowed to wear those shoes. You're not allowed to wear those shoes." And Minnie's like, "But we're not on the clock. As you can see, we're not wearing your smock. Mr. Smock is not being worn." And then suddenly they realize their mistake, and they try to weasel out of it and want us to cover up for them. And, while they try to kiss our ass and say that, "Oh, it's okay, well, I didn't know," but they have this corporate policy, they train everybody on those fucking computers that says, when you're on the clock, you gotta wear your smock. Okay? So they can see we're not wearing a smock, but they give us fucking guff about the shoes that we're wearing. And we said, but then they try to get us to blow up. Yeah, that's their whole purpose. The whole purpose of that exercise was trigger training. Yeah, because if they can get Tranny to blow up and get violent with them, then they have an actual excuse to fire you instead of the ones they're trying to cook up, since they don't want nigger, faggot, tranny, queer at their store, or in their city, or in their state. Because it's theirs, they have to get rid of their victims. Otherwise, their guilt never goes away. When they go to church and talk to Jabeth, and then Tranny comes into work at the store, what are they going to do then? Jabeth isn't working for them anymore. So they have to get rid of their victims. So when Mom tells us you're not allowed to wear those shoes, and then he just politely tells them that we're not here, we're here as a customer, we're not on the clock. And then they're like, they're very nice then, they're very pretty. Because since it didn't blow up like they wanted us to. And so we again very politely tell them we'll be reporting them to corporate. Yeah, we're going to let corporate know. And we turn around and walk away. And they yell at us. They scream at us. "Excuse me?" As if to say, how dare you talk to a vagina that way? You're born with a burrito. You're not allowed to talk to us that way. Boy. Still trying to rile us, and then we turn around on our heels and we walk back, and we just simply tell them, "We walked away and you called us back with your abusive tone." And still, Minnie turns again and walks away. Gets her stuff, gets ready for work, changes her shoes, and goes to work. Well, they let us work for a few hours while they're deliberating. How can we get Tranny out of here? The shoe thing's not working. Yeah, they deliberate for a while, and then Barbie fires us and says, "Well, you didn't take off your glasses like we told you to, Tranny. You didn't take off your glasses, that's why we're firing you." And Minnie says, "Our glasses are a medical device. We're sensitive to very bright light. And for other personal reasons that we don't want to go into because they're personal." But they say, "No, you're fired." And we say, "Well, Barbie," since they're firing us anyway, we say, "Barbie," we said, "what about that sweatshirt you wear all the time with the Barbie logo on it? Yeah, the one that's against corporate policy. It's got a logo on it." And we say, "Barbie, but see, Barbie tells us that a customer might complain if they can't see our eyes." So we say, "Barbie, what if a customer complains they can't see your tits?"